Hello everybody, a big welcome to you all. This is Teresa from Rochester in the UK. Today we're going to start the video by looking around a reclaimed woodyard not far from where I live. And this place is just absolutely fabulous. It's called a reclaimed woodyard, but it's actually reclaimed everything from Victorian chimney pots and window frames and stained glass, and it's just an absolute inspiration. Well, I didn't set out to look at the wood, but I stumbled across it, and oh my goodness, we had so much fun looking at this. I want you to notice the shapes, the square shapes here, the overlapping, some of the beautiful colours that are going on, natural colours. I particularly like this selection at the end. I know they're not natural, but this is my starting point for design, and I'm taking just a piece of it, and this is the piece I'm going to take. I'm going to look at this in a little bit of detail and marry it with these colours. Don't know what I'm going to do with them, but so grab your coffee, get cozy, feet on the table. I've made a photocopy of the piece of wood that I'm going to use, or taken from the video, and just to get the hang of it, I'm just going to go over some of the lines, because at first look you'd think they were straight, but they're not actually straight. They're all a bit crooked. Now I just want to point out the areas of long and short, light and dark, and then we've got the straight bits here and some pointed bits here, and then the colour, the variation in colour, the browns, the grey, and some little bits of white as well, but I still favour they're yellow, orange, green and brown, but we'll see how it goes. Now as I said, I'm just going to go along here just to see what sort of pattern this makes. Now already here you can see there are long ones here and the short ones in between. They're actually all the same piece of wood, I think, pieces of wood, the same shapes. Maybe there's a couple of long ones in between, but these aren't straight. I'm going to take it right down like this, just to get an idea of what sort of line is going on here. Right, now we've got some lovely areas of dark here and dark, so we do have contrast there between the light and the dark. So already that's making me think, contrast. We have here, this is permanent marker. It always reminds me without fail of first time the interactive whiteboards came into school. It was a brand new school. We were all brand new members of staff, all out to make an impression on each other, and oh gosh, we all had to go on interactive whiteboard training. And this is when they first came out, and this school was the first of its kind. It was a very specialist school, and it was the first of its kind. One of the first schools to get interactive whiteboards. Nobody had heard of them, so we had all this special training to use them. And interactive, you get the internet on them, and you can do all sorts of weird and wonderful things on them. There's a projector on the ceiling to project the internet. And it was just wonderful. We'd never seen them before. And each student would have their own tablet, which is connected to this this whiteboard, so the teacher at all times could see what was going on their tablets. It was super duper high tech. One of the things we were told we must not do ever is use a permanent marker on the whiteboard. First lesson, guess what I did? I used one of these because it looks like a board marker. Picks it up from a pencil case, and Oh, I had a really good time. We had a good time, loved the lesson, everything went according to plan until the end. Tidying up time till the end, and someone said, "Miss, I can't get the board clean." Oh my goodness. Oh my word, I can't tell you how awful I felt. It was dreadful. I never ever did that again. And if I could get away without using the interactive board, I did. Oh my word, it was horrendous. The principal, I went to him and, "Oh, guess what I've done? You won't believe what I've done. Guess what I've done?" And he was so lovely. "Don't worry, don't worry. We'll get someone out to look at that." And right enough, someone arrived with a bottle of, I don't know what it was, super duper magic, and cleaned the balls. But oh, heavens above, that was one of the scariest moments, I think, of my life. But anyway, back to this. Now you can see how this is taking on. We're getting different shapes here. Can you see that there? That is practically a V shape. We have another V shape there, here, dark areas there. We've got a little shape there. I don't know what that is, so cover that up. Now we are getting some really nice V shapes or triangular shapes going on down here and across here as well. Now where was it? I was so busy talking, I thought, oh, there's one. Now I think it was round about here, down, yeah, here. We're getting quite a nice V shape. And there's one there. I wonder if it was that one I was thinking of. So I'm getting a rough idea. Now I don't want it too boxy because, well, that's boring. That's just boring. So I think what I'm going to do at this stage, I'm going to sort out some fabric, and while I'm doing that, I'm going to bear in mind we've got long shapes. You see the long shapes here? They're the width of two of these. So that is the contrast now between long and short. That's a lovely contrast. Now I think I'm going to have to break this up into a specific area and take a piece of it. So I want the area with the loveliest shapes. I think I'll exaggerate the V shapes, light and dark, light versus dark, long versus short. So I think these are the three elements that I'm going to concentrate: long versus short, light versus dark, and I'm going to incorporate some of these shapes, because the more I look about, the more I'm seeing these shapes here. Now, I got a little bit carried away before I realised that I should have been videoing this, so apologies for getting this far, but I don't think that you missed anything. All I did was take an armful of scraps. Now, the colours, you might think, ooh, they're not the colours. I have kept some yellow and green, bits of brown as well, but then I got carried away with what I actually liked. So that is why it doesn't look a great deal like the planks of wood anymore. But hey-ho, I'm just going to pop this back here. So you see, I've got a base fabric here, there, that isn't going to be seen. It's that on the end. I can't find any calico recently, no idea where it is, so I'm using up some of these samples, and that is a really nice strong one. So I only need one layer of fabric scraps on top. So, and I'm just pinning them down like this. So they've all been pinned down. So I'm going to put this on the top, and as I do that, I'm going to bring these out, the pins out. Make sure you don't leave any pins in there. and pin this down. So all the pins now are going to come out. I think I can just risk taking them out like that. Put that back. So this is the last pin going in now. So if you look closely, you can possibly see all the pins. I've got 3 rows of pins here, a pin in each piece of fabric underneath. Now the next thing I'm going to do is to tack right the way across to hold them down. So when I'm going to machine sew this, the fabric underneath won't walk. So just big tacking stitches. These aren't going to show, so they'll be coming out later, just to hold the fabric in place. Right, there we go, the tacking's all finished. I've gone all the way around the edge, the 4 sides, and then across the centre. Now that should hold it all down lovely. Now before I start sewing, I'm just going to trim it around the edge. I don't want to start sewing all these overhanging pieces, there's no point. Just be a waste of time and thread. There we go. It's quite a nice strip of fabric there. Oh, this one isn't too bad. Just get that little bit there. That's it. Lovely. I think that's all it really was. Problem is with this, it's like a fleece here. It attracts all the little bits of thread, and my goodness, there's a lot to attract on this table, even on the floor. Right, there we are. So now it's time to sew it. Gave this a lot of thought while I was doing this, and I do like the idea of the points, the zigzags. So I think, I hope I'm not moving too far away from the original inspiration, which is the wood and the blocks, but I'd like to bring in some of those points. Okay, so I'm going to start with doing straight stitch, exaggerating those points. Where is the picture? Let's have a look, see what I'm going to exaggerate. Right, here we are. Exaggerating these here. These lovely elongated triangles. So I'm going to pick it up and run with it and just make more up and down, up and down. But at the same time, bear in mind these are blocks. So at the moment I'm eliminating the blocks and I'm going to exaggerate the triangles. Okay, so let's see how this pans out. So that is now done one way. It's machine sewn all the way up and down into points, and I've varied the width as I've come back. So here you can see there are thick lines. Where's that one? Thick lines here beside thin lines there, to give it a nice interesting contrast in size. Now I've shown you the back because it's possibly easier to see, because I've used ordinary white cotton, but it's getting, I think it's getting lost in the pile. But look at that, which end, because this is all back to front to me, right? That beautiful shape there, look how lovely and big that is. Now I'm going to turn it around this way, just in case you are quite curious about the front. There's the front. I'll hold that up, can see the front there. You can see the points better. You can see them down here and over here. Oh yeah, you can see the points better there. Now I'm going to turn it back this way because I can see the thread on this background, and I'm now going to cross them. Do the same as I've done here, into points, up and down, and get some nice shapes, squares, rectangles, these sort of shapes in the middle. Okay, so let's do that. The machine stitching's been done. I'm just going to take the tacking out now. It doesn't matter about the tacking around the edge, but you need to take the tacking out from the middle, and the easiest way to do it is from the front, because from the back I won't be able to see it, dark thread on that dark background. So I'm just going to whip all that out. There we go, all the tacking's out. I'll turn it over so you can get a better idea, hopefully, of what it's actually looking like. I think you'll see it better this way. I'll hold it up. Right, so here we have some really lovely shapes. Big shapes here, small shapes there. We've got long shapes, short shapes, all sorts of shapes, wide ones, thin ones here, oh, thin ones there. So I'm quite pleased with the shapes. So I should turn this, give it a shake, turn it back. Right, now from here I'm going to cut away just some of the fabric that you're looking at the moment. I'm going to cut away some of that and expose the fabric underneath. Now I think the last project probably inspired me to do this, because I enjoyed that project so much. I thought, hey, I'm going to have another go at that. As I said, we have done a previous project like that, the last one, and like this. Now I'm using the wrong scissors for this. Where's my little short ones? Aha! Right. Right, these still aren't the ones I want, but never mind. Right, be very careful just to cut the top fabric. I mean, it really wouldn't be the end of the world if you cut right the way through, because the face, the background, this one is so pretty. That one would show through, but I don't really want that. So very, very carefully I'm going to cut through and expose the first one. Now we're going to cut through at the side of the stitching without actually touching the stitching. And there we go, and there's the first one emerging. Lovely. Just gonna, I should find my sharper scissors to do this. Right, so there we go. Trim it round, and that is the first one. I'm going to carry on like this. Right, so I won't be cutting all the shapes. I'll be leaving some, so we have the contrast between shiny and patterned. We need this contrast between the plain as well, but this is just such a nice thing to do. Let's try, that's it. Oh, that's better. See, and with these I can just get close to the edge better. There we go. Now I'm going to carry on like that until I finish. I don't think you need to see me cut into lots and lots of these shapes. I'm just going to give you a little catch up now to see how I'm doing. This does take quite a long time to do. There's still a whole big area here that I need to do, but you can see that I have made quite a start on it. So the top bit, you can see the pink there. You can see where the fabric joins underneath as well. That's quite a nice effect. I'll move it up very, very slowly. That hasn't come out too well. You can see it at a close-up, but on the screen that hasn't worked too well. And then here we go, down to the bottom, right the way down, and that's it. These have worked very well. I'm hoping, oh yeah, there's some there, over there. So I'm hoping there's quite an area of that. I can't remember, but I do like that. So I will carry on. Some of these will need to be trimmed around there. I've had to change scissors about 3 times because some of the little pointy ones weren't quite right, and this is very thick fabric as well. The only problem is, which I would advise, is that for your top fabric, if you do this, don't do what I have just done and use a very, very frayable fabric. You see this? And that is just so frayable. And the problem is, if you don't cut this sort of straight, then you end up with little raggy bits all the way around the edge, which I'm going to need to cut off. But it doesn't matter too much because I have an idea that I'm going to do something between them as well. Okay, so I'm going to carry on with this. Next time you see this, they'll all be cut out. As I say, it's taken quite a time. Okay, but it's quite fun because I don't know what's emerging. So each time I cut a square, the whole thing looks totally different. So you like that sort of excitement. Or boredom, I don't know which. Have a go, it really is good fun. Well, I think I finished now. I brought it down into the living room to put it on the chimney breast where the light shines in, and I think the light on the beautiful fabrics here are just making it shine, and I'm pleased now with the fabric that I did choose to go underneath. As you can see, there's some lovely shapes there emerging. I'm not sure that I would cut any more shapes. I didn't intend to cut this many, but yeah, I'm quite pleased with how it's looking. Well, after looking at it on the wall, I've got a few ideas of what to do. But first, I think I'm going to have to do what I normally do with these fragile sorts of work, and that is to put some organza over the top. Now, why I'm going to do that, and as you can see, it hasn't made much difference to the colour. There's a colour without, and there it is with. Just slightly dumbs it down. But why I'm going to have to do this, because I want to do some surface stitchery on the top, and I need to strengthen some of these rows or these lines here. Some of these are very, very narrow, and because of the nature of this fabric, because it frays, I think it's not going to take much handling before some of them actually fray away. If you look at this, that is very, very narrow there, and it's like it in most places, to be honest. Here, is that coming out on the screen? Yeah, there. I think it's just hanging there just by a couple of threads either side of the machine sewing. So I really do need to strengthen this so I can work on the top. Now, so what I'm going to do is put this. Luckily, this is the exact right width. So I'm going to just lay that over, and we've done this before. I do like doing this. It gives a little sheen without changing the colour too much. I also have this blue one which I used last on the previous project, I think, but the blue would change the nature of all those colours there that I particularly want to save. Like, it doesn't come out too much on the screen, but close up it's quite dark and it dumbs down these lovely bright sparkly colours. So I'm going to stick to the white. I just cut that little piece there and pin this on. Now once I've pinned it all the way around, I might machine sew it round. I think I probably will actually machine sew it round, and then just start thinking about the type of stitches or the sort of stitches I want to use around the shapes. Well, I just see which way this goes. It should be square actually, but I don't think it is. No, it isn't. Look at that. Right, it's better that way. Right, oh, I'm pleased to turn that round. So, to continue, as I was saying, I pin this all the way around. Then I will machine sew it around because I've got two very smooth silky fabrics here. The background that is framing and this organza, and they dance. They rub against each other and they dance. Very romantic fabrics, I think. Like a bit of a jiggy, like a bit of a dance. So that is my next step. And then once again I should just sit and look, or I might just actually jump in with 2 feet and think I'm going to start sewing with whatever stitch comes to mind. And then maybe we're on our way to finishing it. So I'll continue this, and then as soon as I've got some stitchery, surface stitchery to show you, I'll pop back to catch you up and then carry on. I have an idea as well what I'm going to do with this, but I'm not going to commit myself at the moment because I'll probably change my mind. Okay, so I'll carry on with these blunt pins. Yeah, oh, already, yeah, I'm pleased I've done that. Yeah, so the colours have stayed the same. The nice shiny bits are still shining through. Right, and that has strengthened it now so I can work on the top. Okay then, so I'll get back as soon as I've made a bit more progress. You might have seen some of these before. They've been cut out from various pieces of fabric, and well, first of all, the fabric was backed with iron-on violine, iron-on interfacing, and then they were cut out, all these little motifs, things that I liked on the fabric. I've cut them out, and I think I'm going to try to place some of them just for a little bit of added interest, but I don't want to cover up too much of the surface because otherwise that defeats the object of going to the trouble of doing all this. And I know it's removed from the original. There aren't any flowers on there, but as a background we won't forget that this is just the inspiration. So we'll still use the inspiration for the background. This is the inspiration, and now we're going to embellish it. So I will spend some time placing some of these before I put the organza in place, and this is going to be great fun actually. So I will do that, and then this is going to take a long time because it's going to be fun. So I won't do this on the screen because it'll get really tedious for you. I'll do this off screen, and I think it's going to take quite a while because we're going to have lots of fun. And I could actually go over some of the very narrow bars here with some of these. Okay, so that's what I'm going to do. That's my next step, and then we'll see what happens. Now I put the flowers underneath the organza, before sewing, and as you can see on the screen, the sheen on the organza fabric is dancing on the screen, and I'm really sorry about that, but that's what that sort of blurry movement is about. Now the stitches that I'm using at the moment is just a running stitch. We always have this discussion, is it running stitch, slow stitch? Well, if you do it mindfully, it's slow stitch. If not, it's just bog standard running stitch. So I'm going to go all the way around the flowers before I decide what to do with the background. Once again, I have an idea, but the idea, it's just a progression, and something is growing out of what I'm doing at the moment. So there we are. I haven't really got that far, but this is really good to do. It's such a lovely task to do. I'm just holding this down in places with a few cross stitches. Don't want too many, just a couple on these bars, because the organza where I haven't sewn is lifting up slightly. Well, I think that one will do. Now I'm going to call this finished. I had thought I'd put some beads on it, but I'm not so sure now. I think it's embellished quite a lot actually. Just put that lovely needle out of the way. There we go. Right, so this is now finished. I'm going to see if I can move the camera up. Come on. No, it doesn't want to move. No, that's a nuisance. I'll make it a bit bigger then. Right, there we go. So I'm not doing any more to this. If you look closely, you can see where I've taken advantage of the points. There we go. I just love these all across here as well. Some really lovely big ones here. There's a lot of overlapping going on. Now I've done this in 2 rings. I'm just going to make this small. It's been hanging on the wall for a while, but I'm hoping you can see the 2 rings of flowers. I've worked one in red running stitch, and that is around there, and the other one I've worked in black, and that is around there, and they overlap at this point. Now they're not placed in a central position on the fabric, they are that way. So I have 2 lovely areas here and here to show the wood, what I'm calling the wood effect underneath. Now the stitches I've used on here is applique. As you know, the flowers are applique, and I've used straight stitch, lots of French knots all over this, straight stitch again here, and I don't think there's any other stitches actually, the cross stitch. So this is just really easy to do. And now while I worked this one, let's make this a bit smaller. While I worked this one, I also worked another one. I was working 2 at a time, so this has taken just a little bit longer than I anticipated. And I've worked 2 at a time because I'd like to make a folder. I think it started off, my idea started off as a folder. Didn't really want to commit to that, but now I have done 2. I think I'm going to carry on and make it into a folder. Now this is the second one. Now they've both been worked the same here, based on the wood cut. This one, now how does this go? This one here has the stitching going right across. Now on this one, the stitching, the machine stitching was done as before, but this running stitch was done before the applique. So all the running stitch that you can see in the background goes right across and that way. whereas this one, the running stitch was done after. So I tried two different ways of doing it, and actually I think I prefer this one. Unfortunately this was the one that was done off screen, but I just prefer this. There's bits of silver thread here, gold bits here, there's an assortment of blingy bits underneath, but I just like the arrangement. I like the one circle, I like the central divide, the central focus here. I like the French knots, and I like the arrangement of colour. So to me this one is my preferred one. However, I still like this one, but not as much. I'm not sure the two rings worked as well as the one ring. So there we are, these are finished. I will assemble them into a folder. And while I was sewing machining, I forgot that I was going to make a folder, and I carried on and made a bag. And it wasn't until I did the 3 seams I thought, no, this doesn't feel right. And yeah, it wasn't right because I set out to make a folder. But anyway, I carried on with the bag, and here it is. Now it's a very small, neat bag, and it has velvet ties to match the inside. It looks a bit twisted there, but they're not. So the front, and that was with the second piece of work I did, the one that I ran at the side of the demonstration one. So there we are there, and I prefer that side. I very much prefer that side. And there is the back, and that is the one that I used as a demonstration piece. Now this is so thick, it's been a bit difficult to pull the corners out as sharp as I would like them. So they're tending to look a little bit round, which I'm not very happy about, but I'm going to have to leave because, as I said, the seams on this are very, very thick. Take these out, these have just been giving it a little bit of shape, and inside there is a green velvet lining. So quite a nice roomy piece of lining, and the ties. Now these are from a dress. This is from the skirt of a green velvet dress, and these are from the ties, the belt. So that worked out well, didn't have to do too much on that. So I hope you like this. We've come a really long way from the original inspiration, but that's how inspiration works. It just plants a seed that you develop and you grow it. So I don't think anybody would know that was from a wood pile. Or maybe they would, I don't know. But I hope you enjoyed that. If you haven't subscribed, please think of subscribing. And I'll see you soon. Keep safe wherever you are. Okay, so take care everyone. Thank you for watching right to the end. If you have managed to get to the end of this, thank you very, very much.